Hey Siri, let's make a video.
Let's make a video coming up.
Got an interesting one for you. If you've watched my channel, you probably know I really like Canon cameras, or I've invested a lot of money and time in using Canon cameras. But I occasionally like to see what else is out there. And an interesting one came across my desk recently. This is the Sony a7CR. It is a 60 megapixel rangefinder with a flippy screen. Gilbert picked it up and let me borrow it for a couple days. It's very light, with especially with this 24 to 70 version 2. Also, this smooth and tight switch is very interesting. A mechanical switch changing the dampening on the zoom ring. Very interesting. 60 megapixels is a lot of megapixels, and I'm going to take this out today to take some photos of my cousin and his family. The timing worked out really nicely that my cousin was like, can you take some family photos for me for a holiday card? And Gilbert was like, do you want to try out the A7CR? Like days within one another. And I was like, oh, this is going to work out. But just want to give some quick impressions real quick on the body. Yes, it's crazy light, especially with this 24 to 70 GM Mark II. I can't believe I'm holding a 60 megapixel camera in one hand, and hopefully I won't get too tired. The grip, if you don't have the grip extender, my pinky does hang off the grip. I do have pretty big hands, so I definitely have a Peak Design strap on it. The flippy screen is nice, although I don't think I'm going to be recording much video with this. I don't know if the 60 megapixels going down to a 4K image, this doesn't do 8K. It only does 4K. I don't know if that's oversampled 4K or if it's pixel binning. And actually, we'll do a quick test in just a sec. A couple other things before that is it only has a single SD card slot, although there's totally room for a second one in there. That would be really nice. That said, when I personally owned some Sonys, the A7S, A7S II, 6300, 6500, they only had one card slot, and I got by okay, but I come to appreciate a 2-card slot system where I can redundantly record or take photos. We have USB-C, mic in. We also have a micro HDMI port and a headphone jack. So, I would either love to go with a second card slot or a full-size HDMI. There's totally like room in the body here for it. So I don't know, feels like a weird compromise. I've been living with micro HDMI on the R5C, so it's not the end of the world to me, but I do have like a bracket that I can put the micro HDMI, really lock it in there. There doesn't seem to be anything like this, so you'd have to like use a cage solution for that. Again, if you're using this for video, which I don't think you should, because my guess is the video is pixel binning. But the photos is mostly what I'm interested in, although I'm not primarily a photographer. I do take photos. Here and there for events and for family members. So I'm really interested in checking this out. The lens is very nice, very light. Gilbert lost his 82 millimeter threaded lens cap, so I let him borrow one of mine. So it is funny to still have a Canon lens cap on there. But I did want to mention the hood has this little like drop down port here that's kind of nice. So if you do have a filter in here, you can still access it and keep the hood on. So that's kind of cool. I don't know, the shutter does not close when the camera is off. I've come to really appreciate that in the Canon line, and in fact I've gotten so used to it, even on my C70 I keep the RF to EF adapter with the filter in there, with just the clear filter to protect the sensor. Really appreciate protecting your investment. So that is kind of scary that a 60 megapixel sensor is just out in the open without the shutter being closed. Although it may be in the menu and I just didn't find it. That said, I haven't personally owned a Sony camera since the A7S II and A6500. And I've heard that the menu has gotten better. And I've used the A7S III a little bit. But man, this menu is still tough to navigate. And I know that when you use it and you get used to it, you get to know what's where and stuff. But turning on log S-Log3 cinema gamut was kind of confusing. It was in a weird spot. I do need to be in like video mode to see that. But log shooting setting, I was used to it being in the picture profile area. I totally overlooked that. And then even once I have this turned on, it's kind of weird when I have the lookup table on there. It says S709 up here. So I was like, wait, am I not in log? But that's referring to the lookup table on the screen, so that it does look like a 709 image on the screen there, not just the flat log. You're not looking at that. I think that used to be called View Assist in the older Sonys. The touch screen controls are nice. It's nice to be able to just tap on the thing, but it just looks like they took the old Sony stuff and put little boxes around it to make it touchable. I don't think a lot of like human interaction ideas went into it. Also the like touch, being able to touch screen your focus point is still kind of weird, and like it's like to dismiss it, you've got a little box in the spot there. I don't know if I like that. I know a lot of people who love Sony cameras. I just think the user interface is hostile. I don't like it. That's just me. I think they make beautiful images though, but not my thing. I have a Fender amplifier here, and the grill always gives me a moire. So let's see. And I'm not used to turning the zoom ring in this direction. Yeah, so we'll see. It's hard to tell just on the little screen in here. The EVF is nice. It's not quite as detailed as the Alpha 1. I've gotten to use Gilbert's Alpha 1 a fair amount. That's pretty nice. But this is detailed enough, for a casual user. But yeah, let's take a look and see if this footage has moire, if it's pixel binning or line skipping to step down to 4K. It is a bummer that there is an 8K, but I get it. There's only a UHS-2 card slot, not the CF Express Type A slot, so can't get those faster speeds. And the body's also a little bit smaller, so I wonder if the like heat management of recording 8K video is a challenge. And then also I just haven't been interested in the A7R5, because this is essentially an A7R5 and a rangefinder body. Is the 8K, is that 9.5K oversampled to 8K, or is it cropping, or is it line skipping, pixel binning? I don't know. I wasn't that interested in the camera, so I didn't read too much into it. We'll take a look at this video clip, and then we'll also take some photos in just a sec. So let's see if there's some moire here. Okay, I'm looking at the image on my iPad, and there does seem to be a tiny bit of moire in the image here. So yeah, you probably won't use this as a video camera. I remember trying to make a video about an Apple Watch with the A7R4, I think. Gilbert, my brother, had that camera, and I didn't bring a camera, and like, let's test out this new Apple Watch, and I tried to shoot the screen, and it was just a mess of moire, those kind of purple and green colors that you get on tight patterns on a sensor that's line skipping. So that's a bummer. And I mean, it even happens on the C70, especially in Super 16 mode. Like it's just you've got a grid of a sensor, and you get a grid that you're filming. It'll happen. So even if you're 1-to-1 pixel readout of your sensor, and sometimes when you're oversampling, so sometimes it's unavoidable. But yeah, it seems like this, I wouldn't want to use this camera to record videos, but we'll take it out on a photo shoot and see how the photos turn out. Let's jump to meeting up with my cousin. All right, buddy, you okay if I get some behind the scenes for my video review of this camera?
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, Uncle Winslow, this is the camera. What do you think?
Yeah,
that's
nice.
Crazy light, huh?
Yeah, it's really nice here. Yeah. Oh, wow. Nice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we'll be using today.
Wow.
Kiana, you sick of being in a car yet?
Yeah.
Been in a car all day.
Uh-huh.
How you doing, Colin? Is it cold? Yeah. Well, we'll get down in the sun.
He's all, Mom, can we just take one picture?
Just one picture. That's all we need. Look at you guys, looking sharp. How's the EDF look inside there?
Nice. Yeah, very good.
Pretty detailed.
Yeah.
So far on the photo shoot, this has been very easy to use. I kind of left it on mostly the same settings. I shot on aperture priority at f8, f9, so I could get plenty of the nature in the background behind my cousin and his family. And then, yeah, I put it on like mid-speed continuous. I didn't need like super fast continuous. And I left the shutter on. Electronic shutter would be cool, but I'm not worried about scaring any wildlife or anything. I also tried to make sure to shoot a little wider than I normally would compose, just because I know I've got 60 megapixels and plenty of space to crop in. Those are some good specs there.
Those are mine.
We were driving down the hill, headed back home, and we saw this sunset, so we had to pull over and get some shots of this. Still very jarring to see all the devastation from the creek fire 2 years ago now, but there's still all these dead trees. It's wild out here. Okay, the camera performed really well, as I expected. Honestly, the handling wasn't too bad. Even without the grip extension, my pinky was under here, but I had a Peak Design strap just for extra protection. My only gripe is the software. I still, like, I would have to, like, own this camera and use it a bunch and, like, get to know the menu and some settings. I ran with the camera in aperture priority because I wanted to shoot at least f8 to kind of get some depth in the background. I wanted to see the Shaver Lake trees across the lake, and it was foggy, the fog across the lake. With the camera choosing the ISO and the shutter speed, the camera definitely chose to like keep the shutter speed low and the ISO low, or the shutter speed slow and the ISO low. So I noticed it was going down to like 1/30th of a second, which is a little slow. Not necessarily so much. The in-body image stabilization was awesome. And when my subject was not moving, or I was not moving the camera like crazy, it was rock solid, which was nice. But I was taking pictures of my cousin's kid, Cohen, and sometimes he'd run around or do something funny, and he'd be a little blurry. So I kind of wish it had a balance of shooting a little bit, like sacrificing some higher ISOs for a shutter speed of like 1/100th to ideally more taking pictures of a child at like 1/250th of a second. And I know I can set like boundaries in the menu, or at least I'm pretty sure I can. I don't know how to do it, and I haven't taken the time to learn because I literally like took a handful of shots before I went and took the camera out on this. Now, it's my cousin's photos. This wasn't like, it was mission critical in that he needed photos for his Christmas card, but it wasn't mission critical like a wedding or something. So I wasn't too worried. But yeah, I think this A7CR is a fantastic photo camera. It's kind of funny because the people who need 60 megapixels are people who need things like 2 card slots, would like the shutter to close when you're not using it, and have an EVF that's a little bit easier to look through with glasses on. That's just me. The 2 card slot thing really trips me up. So like, who needs more of an enthusiast style body but a high megapixel count? I guess like people taking pictures of animals, or people just getting into like high fashion stuff that needs to be cropped and printed or put up on billboards. It's weird. It's hard to say. It's an amazing image though. The sensor in this is remarkable. It is a little bit of a bummer that you wouldn't use it for video because it doesn't have 8K. And it's not oversampling the 9.5K down to 4K. It is doing some sort of line skipping or pixel binning, so there is a little moire on tight patterns. I think it's cool. It's not for me, but it's cool. This 24-70 is also very nice. It's so light. I still can't get over how light this lens is. But I have noticed that, I know Gilbert's had this since it came out, and you're not gonna see it, but there is some dust already inside the lens, and it doesn't affect it optically at all. I'm just surprised that like this is the lens that like a ton of people are going to use as their bread and butter lens, and like dust is already in it. That's odd. I know Gilbert doesn't baby his equipment and it gets used, but I also know that he prefers primes over zoom, so he's not using this lens a ton. Obviously he let me borrow it for a week. It's an odd combination. I don't really know who this is for. It's for Gilbert. He's got his alpha ones. He's got his 2 alpha ones. And then he wanted this as his kind of like his travel camera. It's hard to say $4,500 is your toss around camera for most people, but it's cool. It's not for me, but it's very cool. The A7R4. I got links in the doobly-doo if you want to check one out yourself. Hit the thumbs up if this was helpful. Hit subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. Peace.